So my husband Ian, yep, that's him, right there. He is also a booktuber and recently went out of town for work. And my brilliant friend Calee, who also happens to be a booktuber, but she's like the queen of booktube, gave me this hilarious idea. Reading my husband's TBR before he does. So here is the plan. 1. Pick out books from his TBR. 2. Read as many of those books as I can without getting caught. 3. Successfully complete this challenge, sit him down, and get bragging rights for reading these books before him. The first book that I'm going to be reading for this challenge, I was going back looking at his videos, and this is one of the ones that stood out to me because if I read this before him, he's gonna just be so shocked. I feel like this is a really good one to start with. And also, if you know anything about my husband, he loves big books, and surprisingly this is probably one of the smallest ones that he has on his shelf. We're going to be starting with Piranesi by Susanna Clark. This book is considered like a classic of fantasy. I know so many people absolutely rave about this book, and honestly I could not tell you what it's about. This book just sounds so confusing to me because I guess the main character Piranesi lives in this house and the rooms are infinite. It says, within the labyrinth of halls an ocean is imprisoned. Waves thunder up staircases, rooms are flooded in an instant. But Piranesi is not afraid. He understands the tides as he understands the pattern of the labyrinth itself. He lives to explore the house. There is one other person in the house, a man called the Other, who visits Piranesi twice a week and asks for help with research into a great and secret knowledge. But as Piranesi explores, evidence emerges of another person and a terrible truth begins to unravel, revealing a world beyond the one Piranesi has always known. I don't know what to think of this because honestly, I probably wouldn't read this if it wasn't for a challenge like this. It's really hard for me to branch out sometimes, and that's why I love reading Ian's books because he has amazing taste. I think I want to start with this one because the other ones that I want to read for this challenge are they're chunky. Thank you so much, Haley, for this idea. Seriously, this is genius. Okay, I love her prose right off the bat. good. Hi everyone. I officially finished Essie by Susanna Clark. I was literally reading the climax while Ian was sitting next to me, and I had a romance book that I was reading next to him, but I was listening to Essie. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad. He has no idea. Aww. I had to really practice self-control yesterday because as soon as I finished it, usually we talk about books all the time. Usually we talk about whatever we just finished, and I finished it and I just had to keep it in, and I couldn't share that I just finished a book. Holy cow. I know Essie has been on Ian's TBR for a while. I know he really wants to read it, and it was so funny because he's currently filming a video reading 7 books in 7 days. You should definitely go watch it. I think it should be up by now. This book was on his list, and I actually started reading this when he started that video, and I was like, oh crap, I need to read this before he does. Essie is one of those books that you can't really describe the plot, well, because there isn't really a strong plot. It's kind of like all vibes, and it makes sense why the back does not sound so appealing to me personally. In this book, you are reading journal entries from a man named Essie, who lives in a house that has infinite rooms and a sea that is sweeping between the halls. This is definitely one of the most mysterious books I have ever read. On the front blurb, it says, destined to become a work of classic fantasy. I 1000% agree with that. This is just such a funky book. It's a pretty short book, but I felt as though like 2/3 of it were pretty slow. And I actually did kind of like that, but it made most of it very confusing. This has very low stakes, like extremely low stakes. There's not a lot of action that's going on. You're kind of just getting his day-to-day. But at the same time, it's exciting reading this because you're a little bit scared. You don't exactly know what's going on, and this house is just so mysterious and enchanting. One assumption that I went into this book thinking was that there'd be lyrical prose, and there actually wasn't. It wasn't what I thought it would be. This book is filled with allegories, and I have so many theories. I don't know, I guess that's kind of the fun with it. I was never really good with that in school, so my theories are definitely probably all wrong. That's why I usually reach for books a little bit different than this, but I'm so glad that I ended up reading it. And by the end of it, it was so shocking. Like, I was so surprised at the plot twist, I guess. I think that kind of saved it for me, but at the same time, what the heck happened? This book was just one of those absolute mind games. I don't love how it ends. I felt like it was a little bit underwhelming. I think I would give it... Guys, I don't freaking know. I'm gonna have to think on this one. It could be a 5-star, but at the same time, it could be like a 2-star. I don't know because it's so crazy. The next one that we are going to be reading, this would not be an Ian video if I didn't read a Stephen King book. And also, Haley, she played like a huge part in this video. This is also a book that Haley loves, and I actually sent her pictures of like the books that I'm between, and of course, this one was high up on the list. It's a contender for sure. And Ian has been wanting to read this for so long. It is Billy Summers by Stephen King. This is about a man who is a hired hitman, and he also happens to be one of the best snipers. I think he served in Iraq, so he's now a war vet, and he only kills people that deserve it. So if they have committed like a heinous crime, he will take them out. But he wants out of this business because, you know, he's just done. He just wants to have a normal life, and then he is given a task to take out an evil man, and the offer is too good for him to turn down. I mean, if he takes this money, he can retire and he can walk away from this and never look back. But of course, the last hit that he does, it's like everything goes wrong. So I am very excited to get to that part. I am on page 50, I believe. I just started it this morning, and I have not been able to put it down. He's like so descriptive in his writing, but it works. Also, this is a side note, this has been so hard to film because I can't really read while Ian's here. So I can only read while he's at work. And that has been so difficult, you guys. So it's been taking me a little bit longer to film this because I only have like so many hours to do so. guys, I forgot to tell you, I think I almost got caught last night. I went to bed and I had my heating pad on. It is important to the story. And I was listening to Billy Summers and I couldn't read the physical book because Ian was there. So I was listening to it and I fell asleep. And Ian woke me up to like unplug my heating pad and like everything. I don't know if he turned off my audiobook or not, but he hasn't mentioned it. He would have. If he knew it was Billy Summers, he would have mentioned it. I must have turned it off. I sleep talk and walk and I do the whole thing like a lot. So I could have turned it off and just not remembered. I woke up and it wasn't playing. So this is when this challenge starts to go really south. Guys, I started to get sloppy in my scheming. I got obsessed with Billy Summers. Can you blame me? Ask yourself, can you really blame me? So instead of putting the book up immediately after reading it and before Ian gets home, I started keeping it with me. Yeah, I really thought that I had cracked the code. I hid Billy Summers inside of my funny story sleeve to disguise it. And this is what happened. I don't know.
Why do I have the smile in your voice?
My book.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Where can you go? Where is it?
I don't know.
Are you reading it?
No. I don't know.
Where's Billy?
I don't know. No.
Where is Billy Summers?
No, I don't know.
Where is Billy Summers? Tell me right now.
Oh, I made it so far.
What do you mean? What? You haven't been reading Billy Summers, have you? You have not. Why do you have this book? What is
You
going
can
on?
take it out.
What's going on? Are you really reading it? Are you seriously reading this book?
Yes, it's so good.
Wait, you're seriously reading Billy
Yes,
Summers?
I've been reading your TBR.
You've been reading my TBR? This is a
so
genius
good.
idea!
And I read Pure Nessie.
You read Paradise. Was that good? Keep this going. Keep this going. Genius idea. Haley, you're freaking... This is why you're the best. Genius.
Freak, I was so close.
No, keep it up. Keep it up.
Oh.
Love it. Love this idea. I didn't see a thing.
So, did Ian find out? Yes. But I am obsessed with this book. Cannot stop thinking about it. I have been reading Funny Story in the meantime because Ian's been around. It has been paining me that I cannot read this book, especially where I've left off. So I am very excited to freely be able to finish this book and then finally talk to Ian about this whole video. Hello everyone. As you guys saw, I got caught reading Billy Summers by Stephen King. And this is actually so funny how Ian caught me. So I finished Billy Summers last night because after Ian noticed that I was reading it, of course I had to finish it. It was so good. This challenge does end with Billy Summers, unfortunately. I thought I would make it very far. I thought that you would not find out for a while, but I got a little too relaxed. Made some bad choices, and that's what got me caught, okay? So, up until this point, every time I would pick up one of his books, I would immediately put it back on his shelf exactly where it was because I knew that you would notice.
I am constantly looking at my shelf.
Yeah.
Not because I'm a freak, but because it helps me.
Because he's a freak. I don't know what Stephen King puts in his books, but
crack for readers.
It's a drug. Every time I read one of his books, I'm like, this is the last one. This is the last one. I can't handle it. I can't handle the pain. After Pet Sematary, I was like, I cannot put myself through that again.
Unless compelled to.
I just keep doing it. So I think this book now, I am like a fan. Yesterday, I was looking up interviews with Stephen King. Like,
Yeah.
I love Stephen King, and I get it.
We all get to that point.
Yes, I get it. I get it. I finished the book sobbing, and I did not think that I would. This book was so beautiful. I was so emotional after reading it. I can't think of a book where hours later I would think of it and start crying again. I did not know this going in, but there are trigger warnings, so please make sure to look them up before you go into this book. Usually the kind of topics that are brought up in this book, I thought it would be a side topic, but it ended up actually becoming like the plot. I tend to stay away from stuff like that. It's just really hard for me to read. I'm glad that I ended up reading it. There are some little parts that I had to skip. I'm trying to like be honest here, kind of show you guys how this book really had an impact on me. Okay, I'm just going to be very brief. It felt good reading about someone who is heroic in taking down people that do really horrible things. I thought he did a really great job. Sorry guys, I might even take this out. Who knows, it probably won't even go in there, but.
No, don't take it out.
I just want you guys to know like how much of an impact a crime fiction novel had on me. I didn't think it would, not at all. Get it together. I'll start talking about Pure Nessie and then my eyes will dry up real quick. Okay. This is obviously a 5-star. I don't know if that was obvious actually, but it was so good, and I feel like this book I'm gonna think about a lot.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. You know, anything to get you into being a Stephen King fan.
I am.
I wouldn't say all of his books are for you, but
yeah,
most of them.
Definitely. Yeah, there are some that I feel like I definitely would
shy
be
away.
uncomfortable with. I feel like he writes characters that are so relatable.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I love about his books. And even side characters. There are side characters where you're like, oh my gosh, I see parts of this character in myself.
Yeah.
And one thing I've noticed from the books I've read so far of his is that the narrator always stays the same.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's so cool just across the board. Obviously it's his writing. He has this very specific voice. I could blindly pick up a book and I feel like I know it's Stephen King's writing.
Yeah, he's better at it than everybody else. You should read his fantasy series then.
I know! Now I'm open and willing.
Everybody needs to read The Dark Tower.
Okay.
Everybody. Just so happy that you picked Stephen for this video.
Yeah, same. Okay, the next one I read is Pure Nessie, which I have already gone into detail on my review with this, but since you caught me during Billy Summers, I just did my review on camera.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, so this one I already went into detail, so they already know. This is a very hard book to describe the premise without giving away the plot.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Basically, there's this guy named Pure Nessie, and he is in this house that has infinite amounts of doorways and halls, and there's this roaring ocean that just like comes in, and
interesting.
That's pretty much all I can say. But they're kind of searching for like a higher power. It's super interesting. So I actually felt like I was super bored with most of it. Like a book this short, there's not a lot going on. This is mainly just vibes.
Yeah.
This is basically vibes.
That's what I hear Susanna Clark is good at. Mooding.
Yeah. I 100% think this is gonna become a modern classic, for sure. Was it for me? I don't think it was.
Okay.
Definitely helped me branch out, and I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it for what it is. I think the ending was a little bit redemptive, but at the same time underwhelming. And I was like, man, I feel like there's stuff missing.
Yeah.
It felt incomplete to me. I don't know if it's like a 2-star or a 5-star. It's one of those books.
Wow. Don't rate it then.
I don't think I can. I don't think I can give this a rating.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if I've ever done. My brain literally was like not computing. I'm like, what is going on? And that's the thing with this book. You don't know what's going on until almost the end. And I did not love that because I was so confused. Most of the book you're confused. Yeah. I'm still a little confused, honestly. But I can update that I don't think it's a 5 and I don't think it's a 4. I think it's in the 3s.
Okay.
But I do recommend it, so I don't know if that's strange, but...
What were the other books you were gonna read?
Okay.
Everyone needs to read Stephen King. I know I'm freaking beating a dead horse with that, but come on. Come on, people. The Dark Tower is a masterpiece. And everything surrounding it, all the other books, perfection. And Haley, thank you for this idea. Genius. Absolutely genius. I wasn't talking to the camera.
My plan was to next jump into one of these two, Recursion by Blake Crouch and Empire of Silence.
Wow.
I know! And this one was like the heavy hitter. I was like...
Oh, dude, bragging rights.
Yes, I feel like, dude, that would be awesome.
Since you like Red Rising, I feel like that'd be...
Yes, except this sounds like way more
Science fiction-y?
Yeah. He just finished filming 7 books in 7 days.
Yes.
And yeah, definitely go watch that video. It's probably already up. You read Iron King first for that video.
Oh, you would read Iron King?
That was gonna be my first one.
Dude, that's a good read.
And then I changed it last minute to Pure Nessie, and like a couple days later you started Iron King. And I'm like, okay, that was gonna be second, but now we're cutting that one. For Recursion, it wasn't that I exactly wanted to read it, but I knew you really wanted to.
Yeah, it was part of the initial list of 7 books.
Yes! I loved Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, who is the same one who did Recursion. And he does like thriller, sci-fi kind of books.
They're like merging.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
I feel so happy about
I'm so
that.
happy for you. Reading the books my wife hid from me.
Yes!
No, take that out, take that out.
Don't forget to go subscribe to Ian. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!
Bye!